Hey guys, welcome back. And today we have the May June 2026 CSEC Economics Paper 2. Let's get into it. Number one, Table 1 shows a list of economic definitions. We have 5 definitions here. And we have to use the space provided below and write the number of the definition from Table 1 that matches with each of the following economic terms. Pretty easy. So economy will match with number 3 because an economy is a system of production, consumption, and distribution. Long run matches with number 5, which is a situation where or in which all factors of production are variable. We have marginal cost, that is number 1. Anytime you hear the word marginal, think about an extra, right? So that is the additional cost incurred from producing an additional unit of output. Short run, that is number 2. A situation in which at least one factor of production is fixed. And for that, you get your full marks. Part 2 wants us to state 2 roles of the market in resource allocation or resource sharing. 2 roles of the market in the allocation of resources are to determine what goods and services are produced and to allocate scarce resources to the most valued uses through the price mechanism, or in other words, the forces of demand and supply. Part B wants us to explain how each of the following factors could affect the economic decisions of households and firms. Households, increase in income. Higher income enables households to buy more goods and services and/or purchase better quality products. Warmer weather. Warmer weather increases demand for items such as air conditioners, fans, and cold beverages. Firms, increase in input costs. Higher input costs increase production expenses, causing firms or businesses to reduce output or raise prices. Because again, they want to secure their profit margins. Decrease in consumer demand. Lower consumer demand causes firms to reduce production because fewer goods can be sold. Yep. Part C. A taxi driver carried Jerry to sit his CSEC economics exam. The taxi driver bought the taxi from Cars R Us, which is located in the city. The taxi was assembled in a facility that makes cars. Some of the materials used to make the car include steel screws, which was made in a factory overseas. The steel screws manufactured by Steel Yard Incorporated were made from raw iron and other material. The raw iron was extracted by Miners Incorporated. Identify the economic sector in which each of the following activities take place. A taxi driver transported Jerry to sit his CSEC economics exam, that is tertiary, that belongs to the tertiary sector. The taxi driver bought the taxi from Cars R Us, which is located in the city. That's a tertiary sector activity. The taxi was assembled in a facility that makes cars. That is a secondary sector. Some of the materials used to make the cars include steel screws, which were made in a factory overseas. That's a secondary sector. The steel screws produced by Steel Yard Incorporated were made from raw iron and other materials as a secondary sector. The raw iron was extracted by Miners Incorporated as a primary sector. And for all that, you're going to get your 6 marks. Very, very easy, guys. Very, very easy. Number 2, define each of the following terms. So this is just asking us to recall the definitions of what we know about these terms, which you guys should know, right? So entrepreneurial talent. Entrepreneurial talent is the ability to organize other factors of production and assume risk to earn a profit. Entrepreneurial talent is similarly related to the definition of an entrepreneur, right? It's the same thing, basically. Production is a conversion of factors of production into goods and services that consumers wish to consume, right? You must have this keyword right there, conversion, right? Because it's a process. Production is always a process. It changes something from something. It changes something to something, I should say. Yeah. Then we have land. Land is defined as all the natural resources or gifts of nature available on, above, and below the Earth's surface that are used in production. Part BI, explain the difference between land productivity and labor productivity. You must provide one example of each concept. So we have here that land productivity is the amount of output produced per unit of land used. It measures how efficiently land is used in production. For example, a farmer harvests 8 tons of banana from 1 hectare of land. Conversely, labor productivity is the amount of output produced per unit of land used. It measures how efficiently workers produce goods or services. For example, a garment factory produces 60 shirts with 10 workers, so the labor productivity is 6 shirts per worker. A very simple example I used there, but you can create your own example. But just remember, you need to have your definitions, right? Because you are differentiating between the two. Explain the difference between free goods and economic goods. You must provide one example of each concept. Now, free goods are naturally available in unlimited quantities and have no opportunity costs. An example of a free good is air, which is freely available for people to breathe under normal conditions, right? Economic goods, on the other hand, are goods that are scarce relative to human wants. An example of an economic good is bread, which requires the factors of production to be produced. Okay? All right. Part C. Sarah is about to finish high school and will be attending college in September. She has many activities that she would like to do during the summer holiday. However, she realizes that the holiday is short and that she would not have enough time to complete all the activities she had planned. She must decide which activities to do in order to have the most enjoyable holiday. The activities which cannot be done during the summer will have to wait until the next holiday in December. Identify 3 economic concepts demonstrated in the scenario. For each economic concept, state how it is applied in the scenario. So economic concept 1, we have scarcity. So the application is that Sarah has limited time during a summer holiday, but she wants to do many activities. Since her available time is insufficient to do everything, she faces a time constraint. The next concept is choice. Sarah must choose which activities to complete during the summer and which activities to postpone until the December holiday. And the third economic concept is opportunity costs. The opportunity cost of Sarah's decision is the activities she gives up or postpones until the December holiday, when she chooses to spend her limited time on other activities. Number 3, define the term Ceteris Paribus. Ah, yes, a very famous phrase in economics. Now, Ceteris Paribus, a paribus means all other things being equal, holding all other factors constant. And this is used when we are making assumptions in economics. You have to state this before you make your assumption. Part B, explain why ceteris paribus is an important concept in the study of economics. Ooh. The concept of ceteris paribus is important in economics because it enables economists and other persons as well to isolate and study the effect of one variable on another, making it easier to analyze economic relationships accurately. Part C, state 2 characteristics that help determine the market structure for a good. The 2 characteristics that help determine the market structure for a good are the number of buyers and sellers and the ease of entry and exit in the market. Okay? All right. Part D. Consider a farmer who uses pesticides on his crops. The pesticides seep into a nearby river that supplies drinking water to neighboring communities. This is a negative externality for neighboring communities. Discuss how market failure creates the negative externality in the scenario above. Market failure occurs because resources are misallocated, since the farmer aiming to maximize profit through the intensive use of pesticides disregards the true social costs, such as increased water treatment costs and health problems imposed on third parties in neighboring or nearby communities, because these costs are not reflected in the market price of the crop. Very simple and very direct, straight to the point, no fluff in this. Yeah, moving on. We don't have time to waste. So that was part D, and this is part E. Figure 1 is a graph of the supply curve for rice in country Y. We have the price on the y-axis, the supply curve, and we have the quantity on our x-axis. Figure 1, the supply curve for rice in country Y. So they say use the information from figure 1 to calculate the price elasticity of supply for rice. Show all working. Now, price elasticity of supply measures the responsiveness of quantity supply to a change in the price of the good. Just keep that in mind. It's very, very important, right? Now, how do you go about calculating price elasticity? Did I say demand? Price elasticity of supply, sorry. Now, how do you go ahead calculating that? Is very easy. It is the percentage change in the quantity supplied divided by the percentage change in price. So PS is equal to 10 over 25, which is equal to 0.4, right? As you can see, price had changed from 80 to 100, and the quantity has changed from 50 to 55. Using this formula right here, you're going to get an answer of 0.4. Now, they want us to state whether the price elasticity of supply for rice is elastic or inelastic based on the response given in EI. Now, based on our response from above here, price elasticity of supply will be inelastic because it's less than 1. Simple. Figure 2 and figure 3 shows the graph for the market for tea. Illustrate on figure 2 what will happen to the equilibrium price when the price of tea increases. You must write a statement to support your illustration. Now, the equilibrium price will increase from P1 to P star, as seen by the contraction, a decrease. A contraction is like a squeeze. The demand curve is like it's shrinking. Since an increase in T leads to a contraction in demand according to the law of demand, because as prices increase, quantity demanded decreases as well too. Okay? Once prices are affected, you're going to always see a movement along the demand curve. And since price has been increased, quantity demanded will decrease. Okay? Nice. Part 2, illustrate on figure 3 what will happen to the equilibrium when the price of sugar, a complementary good, increases. Keyword here is complementary. That means it goes together with whatever good they are referring to, right? When the price of sugar, a complementary good. So there's a other good that has to combine with sugar, okay? So we have price on our y-axis, quantity on our x-axis, you have the demand curve, you have the supply curve. Now, the equilibrium price and the quantity will both decrease, since the price of sugar is the other good in question that will shift the demand curve to the left, right? Price of another good is a determinant of demand or a non-price determinant of demand that will shift the demand curve to the left. That is why both the price and the quantity both decrease, shifting the new equilibrium to the point where it is right now, as illustrated by the diagram. Are you following me? Okay, nice. Mark it for T. Just by doing that, you're going to get your mark. Number 4, table 2 shows the roles of various financial institutions. Roles of financial institutions, let's go. We're going to match again. So using the space provided below, write a number that matches each financial institution with the correct role given in table 2. Central bank, that is 5, supervises other financial institutions. Insurance company, 7, compensates policymakers when unexpected losses occur, such as those related to property damage, health, and loss of life. Mutual fund, that is number 1, collects money from investors to invest in a portfolio of bonds, stocks, and other securities. Credit union, that is 3, serves a specific community, a group of individuals, and promotes savings and offer affordable loans to its members. Building societies, that is number 2, helps individuals to buy homes by providing mortgages and a variety of savings products. And development bank will be number 6, offers loans and grants to projects that contribute to economic development. And just like that, you're gonna get your 6 marks. Teachers in Westville are currently receiving higher, that is B, right? Part B. Teachers in Westville are currently receiving higher wages because their union, Caribou, was able to convince their employers of the economic value to the country. Discuss the impact of an increase in teachers' wages on consumer spending and the economy. As teachers' wages rise, right, that is where we're going to start off. As teachers' wages rise, the purchasing power increases proportionally, allowing them to buy more goods and services. Furthermore, as teachers spend more, a multiplier effect is created because increased spending raises sales and revenue for businesses, which may lead firms to hire more workers and invest in expanding production, thereby increasing national income and overall economic activity. Okay, straight to the point for 4 marks. Part 2 wants us to discuss the impact on the economy if the increase in teachers' wages is higher than the equilibrium wage or the wage equilibrium. No, any wage increase that is not matched by an increase in productivity will lead to cost push inflation. When wages exceed the equilibrium wage, furthermore, an increase in government spending on higher wages crowds out spending on other investment projects, resulting in a decline in economic growth and potentially higher unemployment. As a government, whose employer in this case has less funding available to hire new employees. So cost push inflation could occur here, as well as a decline in economic growth from the crowding out of investment, well, funds, since the government is spending more on higher wages. Right? These are the two most powerful or two most so-called important points you can mention in this section of the paper right here. And then we have part C, suggests the economic problem experienced or action taken by the country in each of the following scenarios. The cost of living for households in Maxport increased by 5% within the past 12 months. That is inflation. That's the problem. Bridgeport experienced a general decline in economic activity for several months. That is an economic recession. Within the last year, more than half of the population of Penny Valley was not working and actively seeking work in local industries, unemployment. Because they was actively seeking work and they couldn't find, so that is unemployment. Within the last year, Sunnyvale imported more goods, services, and capital than it exported. That is a balance of payment deficits, trade deficits. Sandyville was forced to adjust the value of its currency last year to boost exports and correct trade deficits. That is a devaluation occurring right there. Okay, so devaluation. Which Valley borrowed a large amount of money from Santong and is finding it difficult to repay the loan. External debt, that's a foreign debt. They are finding it difficult. That's a debt that needs to be paid. So I guess they need to refinance that loan. Yeah. Number five, state one example of each of the following concepts. Informal financial institution, SUSU, also known as partner or rotating savings scheme. Indirect tax, value added tax, which is a VAT, aka VAT. That's a street name, we know it as VAT, but the government name is value added tax. Direct tax, income tax, e-commerce, think about Amazon. Part B, outline the difference between nominal output and real output. Now, nominal output is a level of output measured at current year prices, whereas real output is a level of output measured at base year prices, with effects of inflation removed, because nominal gives you what is happening right now. It reads to you what is happening right now, but real output tells you the value of what is being produced compared to previous price levels. Okay, it's kind of like removing the effects of inflation, because if you adjust your output that you are producing by kind of comparing it to your previous year, you are removing the effects of high prices, the effects that high prices will have on that calculation in a way, you know? So yeah, just think about real. Anytime you hear the word real, whatever, real anything in economics, we are factoring in inflation. So inflation is being removed from the calculation here. Nominal is just straight up, it's like price times output gives you whatever. It doesn't account for inflation. Whatever is the price level, whatever is the output level, that is what you're getting. Part C, identify the type of unemployment caused by each of the following scenario. New university graduates are deemed unemployed while searching for their first job. That is frictional unemployment, right? If they were still studying, they would have been considered to be economically inactive. Is it economically inactive or economically? They are not discouraged. They are not unemployed, but they are economically something. I think it's inactive. You guys could put the correct word or comment, the correct phrase that's supposed to categorize people who are actually studying. Um, what do we call them? Do we call them economically inactive because they are studying with the aim of actually taking part in the labor force when they finish their studies? Because I mean, what do you go to school for? To get a job afterwards. So most of them do, well, 99% of them, when they go to school, they are going to school to leave school so that they could get a job after, right? So if they are newly graduates who are deemed unemployed or searching for their first home, we're going to call it frictional unemployment, right? Frictional unemployment. Mhm. The apple orchards was fully reaped at the end of August, and the farm owners no longer needed reapers to work until August. So that's seasonal unemployment. What do you explain one measure that could be used to reduce cyclical unemployment? The government can adopt an expansionary fiscal policy by increasing its spending on public projects such as roads, schools, and hospitals. Such spending raises demand for goods and services, encouraging firms to increase production and employ more workers, thereby reducing cyclical unemployment. So just two benefits that OECS countries gain by being members of each of the following, so free trade area. Two benefits OECS countries gain are that it allows goods and services to move freely between member countries without tariffs or quotas, thereby increasing trade in the region, and that it promotes specialization and efficiency as countries can focus on producing goods they are best at, leading to lower prices for consumers. Right. So they can have a comparative advantage in a sense, Yeah. Economic union, the benefits of OECS countries gain are the free movement of labor and capital across member states, improving employment opportunities and investments. Additionally, an economic union encourages cooperation and policy coordination, such as taxation and monetary policy, leading to stronger regional economic stability and growth. And we see evidence of that through the Eastern Caribbean Central Bank and the whole monetary policy. There's coordination between the islands of the OECS. So that is of relevance here. And we have this right here. Table 3 lists the components of the value of money for country X. That has to do with the money supply, right? So calculate each of the following money supplies, M0 and M2. M0. M0 is the most liquid category in the money supply. Therefore, our calculation will have bills and coins in circulation and central bank digital currency because these are the two most liquid form of money we can have in circulation right now. So that will be 6,000 million. M2 will have M0 plus traveler's check plus demand deposit plus short-term time and savings deposits plus certificates of deposit. So M2 consists of M0, M1, and other categories under M2. Therefore, it will consist of both narrow money and broad money, right? And the answer will be 25,000 million. And that is your two answers right here. And that is the end of the CSEC Economics exam. That is it for me today. See you all next time.